Good evening and welcome to a new edition of the news. A 15-year-old Palestinian was killed by Israeli military fire near the Gaza border fence. Uthman Hillis was killed by a live bullet to his chest. The Gaza Health Ministry also reported that 70 others were wounded by gas canisters and live fire in clashes with troops near the fence. Thousands took part in the protest, which marked 100 days since their launch, burning tires and throwing stones. The Israeli army's version of the story is that it shot at a suspect who tried to cross the border. Today's protests were held under the slogan, "Solidarity with the residents of Al-Khan Al-Ahmar," a West Bank Bedouin village whose planned demolition by Israel is being debated at the High Court. Over 130 mostly unarmed Palestinians have been killed by Israeli fire since protests began on March 30th. At least 128 people were killed when a suicide bomber detonated himself at an election rally in the Pakistani town of Mustang in the province of Baluchistan. Authorities say the death toll could rise further as more than 200 others are wounded. The bombing was the most deadly attack in Pakistan in over a year and is the third incident of election-related violence this week. Among the killed was Baluchistan Provincial Assembly candidate Siraj Risani. Earlier in the day, a bomb blast killed 4 people in the northern town of Banu. Daesh terrorist group claimed responsibility for the attacks. U.S. President Donald Trump met Britain's Queen Elizabeth at Windsor Castle. While Trump's trip was not the full state visit he was originally promised, he was heralded by military bands on his arrival at Windsor before he and First Lady Melania were due to have tea with the Queen.
Mr. President,
earlier and following talks with British Prime Minister Theresa May in Chequers, May's country house outside London, Trump said he looked forward to finalizing a post-Brexit trade deal with Britain. The statements marked an abrupt change from a newspaper interview in which he said May's strategy would kill such an agreement. Trump referred to reports of his criticism of the British Prime Minister as fake news. Trump and May spoke of the special relationship between their two countries, with the British Prime Minister saying they discussed plans for an ambitious trade agreement. As Trump and May spoke, hundreds of thousands of protesters marched through London, waving banners and banging pots to demonstrate against Trump's visit. Activists kicked off the demonstrations by floating a 6-meter blimp outside Parliament, depicting Trump as a snarling orange baby. Trump is due to fly to Scotland later for a private trip before heading to the Finnish capital Helsinki for a summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. In sports, the Russian city of St. Petersburg is gearing up for tomorrow's penultimate match of the World Cup, the third-place playoff between Belgium and England. Belgium were beaten 1-0 by France in the first semi-finals, while England lost 2-1 in the second semi to Croatia. England will be looking to sign off their magical summer with a farewell to the fans. Though winning or losing this match does not really matter in that respect. Belgium also have their memorable win over Brazil to reflect on, and that will stay in the memory bank more than the glorified friendly.
Beautiful.
And finally, for a quick look at the weather, pleasant summer conditions are in the forecast with temperatures around seasonal average and the winds northwesterly moderate, picking up at times. Amman tomorrow can expect a high of 30 degrees Celsius and a low of 20 degrees. In the Gulf of Aqaba, hot conditions prevail with daytime temperatures at 39 degrees, dropping down to 28 at night. And with this, we come to the end of this edition of the news. I'm Ali Atuqan. Thank you for joining us and have a good night.